First of all, welcome. Welcome to the Overdrive to Overflow challenge, where we will be talking all about manifestation, mindset, and getting you unstuck. So, this would be a 3-day session. We will be talking a lot about neuroscience behind manifestation. But first of all, before we start, I want to say congratulations on showing up, on coming, and saying yes to your next level. This can be a defining step in your next level. And I know, and I can say this by experience, because, many years ago when I was in a situation where I was starting my entrepreneurial journey and I was doing, a lot of things, there was a lot happening in life. I had 2 kids, an infant and a 3-year-old. Along with that, my hormones were going crazy, and I wanted to start a new business, to run a family, living in a country where you don't have a lot of help. There was a lot going on, and I was at a point that no, I want to do stuff, and I was going on and on and on, and it was going fine. I wouldn't complain. I was getting results. However, you know, the results were not the way I wanted them. The results were not, my vision was the freedom, the ease, the flow that I wanted. However, when I, started getting in there, I saw that I'm kind of becoming a slave to my work. So I'm working all the time. And it doesn't feel freeing. It doesn't feel easy. It doesn't feel abundant. In fact, it doesn't feel like, you know, being an entrepreneur. Is this how the entrepreneur journey is going to be for me? All those questions, along with that, the money that I wanted was not showing up. Not the way I wanted it. There was money, but it was trickling. I won't say it was abundance happening. And all those questions were going on. Me being an engineer and, a action taker was taking all the actions. I was doing more and more and more. However, a part of me started asking this question that is there something that I'm missing? Is there a missing piece to the puzzle? And that's when I just want to make sure there's some people in the Khushbu, will you be able to take care of people in the waiting room?
Yeah, I will add.
Okay. All right. So that's when I actually realized, actually, I came across energy, manifestation, mindset, and I thought maybe that is the piece of the puzzle that I'm looking for. That is the missing piece. And I said, okay, let me give it a try. So today, why I'm feeling so wow in my heart is because it could be that day for so many other people, where you could actually realize that it doesn't have to be a lot of work. It can feel easy and abundance can come in. And that's why the challenge is called Overdrive to Overflow. So going back to the story, so this was about 4 years in my entrepreneurial journey already. I had a coding school going on. I had a private label set up on Amazon, and I was selling in Canada and, a little bit in US as well. I was living in Canada, by the way, at that time. So, and then when I started working, applying all these stuff that I was learning from, some course, I joined a mentor. Um, it was different. Things started showing up, money started showing up, ease started showing up. I was like, oh my God, this stuff works. And the engineer in me got even more curious. Now I wanted to get more deeper into it. And that's why I started studying more about the science behind it, the neuroscience behind it. And that's how the logical manifesto was born, because years of those, 7-figure years in my business, those, 6-figure months that I had after that was a wow. However, slowly and gradually you start wanting more, right? And now I want more. The more that I want is to make everybody feel the way it feels, the abundance, the flow, the energy. So that's why the logical manifesto is born. And today, in these 3 days, we would be talking a lot about whys and hows of manifestation, why people get stuck, why some people never take action, what is happening inside your brain when we don't take action, and what needs to happen to take those actions, yeah, and to get those results. So we should get started. Let's start with day one. I have this, there is a structure to it. However, it's pretty much impromptu. So, I would still be, still stay spontaneous while I do have a structure in place. So the time's 11:11. Now that have I have a very weird view in front of me. I see only a picture of myself and everybody else is smaller, which is kind of bugging me. Let me just try to fix this in a second. I don't know why. Okay, this is better. Multi-speaker view is better. All right, let's just stick to that. Okay, so should we start? Let's talk about the day one. We will be talking about our executive brain today and why it is important. So, if we are in business, if we are wanting to start a business, if we want to do anything analytical where the brain's involved, the chances are having it healthier would always, make you feel better, right? It is always in your favor to have a healthier brain, and especially when you want to make smarter decisions, right? Whether you are a business owner or you are an executive or whatever you are doing where you're using the brain. So we'll talk about the 5 habits which we need for our executive brain to work in its highest, its most optimized way. And further down in line, we'll talk about a little bit about manifestation and how it builds into the picture. Okay, so let's talk first and foremost about no prizes for guessing. Nutrition is important for our brain. So when we talk about nutrition, it's not going to be a class on vitamins and minerals and oils and all, except fat is good for us. I do want you guys to know that not all fat is bad. Omega-3 is very good for our brain, but most importantly, when you are skipping those meals or eating those junk food, you're not only harming your body, you're harming your business also. You're harming your abundance also. Think of it in this way, and that will actually help a little bit more, I think. So that's about nutrition. Do Google it. We have a lot of information available about, what's healthier for our brain and all. However, I do want you to know that nutrition is important not only for your health, but also for your healthy decision making, your analytical thinking. So our executive brain, our prefrontal cortex, our CEO brain, as we call it, also is very much dependent on water. 73% of our brain is water, which is a lot of water, right? So 70% of our body is water, but 73% of our brain is water. So what's happening when you are feeling thirsty? You are already a little bit dehydrated. And that's impacting your decision making again, right? Your analytical thinking again. So that's why even 2% of dehydration can actually impact your analytical skills a lot. That's why we need to drink a lot of water. So, all right, so we talked about nutrition and water, hydration. Let's talk something which we all love to skip and actually feel very cool about that. Nowadays, my kids feel very cool about skipping it as well. And that's sleep. Nobody wants to, feel proud of sleeping 8 hours. You are old if you want to sleep 8 hours. My kids, this was summer vacation, and my kids were like, "No, mama, we want to sleep late. We want to sleep at 2, at 1." And they are like, so feeling so cool about it that we can actually wake up this long. However, just think about it. Since nomadic times till today, we have been needing the sleep. Whatever was not needed, the nature has removed it. Yeah, we lost the tail, we lost those body hair, we could have lost sleep if it was, not required. However, think about it. And those times when you were so vulnerable to those predators, to those wild animals, living in caves or living on trees, still you needed to sleep. Just put it in perspective and think how important the sleep would be, that the evolution did not remove it. And today, in times of the most comforting time in the world as of now, in the whole history of humankind, we are in the most comfortable, and still our sleeps are not good. The impact that they have not only on our health but also on the brain is we don't know how much impactful it is. Thus 6 to 8 hours of sleep is important, right? And people, whether people call you old for that, people call you whatever for that, take pride in those 8 hours of sleep. It is not only your beauty sleep, it's also your abundance sleep. This is where you get that calm, that abundance, that relaxation, that analytical thinking that you are working towards. Yeah. So these were the easy ones, these three, the hydration, nutrition, and the sleep. This is where, in a way, of course, it's required for your analytical thinking, your abundance, your mindset. However, we'll come to the other two, which is where we start talking about manifestation more, which is where the manifestation part of neuroscience comes into picture. So we talk about, I'm thinking which one should I talk about first? Let's talk about oxygenation. So what is oxygenation? Oxygenation is exercising, any aerobic exercise where you walk or you dance or you do Zumba or whatever. It is all good for your brain. Your, again, however, the fun piece to it is that it's good for your brain when you walk, but if you enjoy dancing and if you dance as an exercise, your brain gives you extra point. Nature gives you extra points. So you get BDNF, which is a hormone, which actually is a feel-good hormone, which is related to a feel-good exercise. All right. So doing exercise plus one, doing a exercise that you enjoy plus two. And that's again good for your.
Oh, Aparna, I just want to add in. So you mean to say that it's very important to dance in all the Ganesh Chaturthi festivals here happening in India. So
If
anybody
you
can
enjoy
say.
it. If you enjoy it.
So,
That's
so now I am understanding, the logic, and I want to reinforce the logic behind like dancing in all the spiritual activities
mm, true.
with so much of fun. So,
True,
so
true. So
that's
true.
how I'm relating the logic with that.
Yeah.
What you it's very hard for me to pronounce oxygeneration, oxygeneration,
Oxygenation. Oxygenate.
oxygeneration. Okay, all right.
All right. So we talked about oxygenation. Another very good way of oxygenation, very common way, it is not known for this term, but it is meditation. Breathing. Deep breathing is the, of course, easiest way to oxygenate your body. There are other benefits of oxygenation and especially meditation, and that is simplification. It actually helps declutter and simplify your brain. Yeah. So, which brings me to the next point. But before we go to the next point, I want to actually talk a little bit about conditioning and how decluttering is important in that case. Okay, so let's first talk about conditioning. So, conditioning is basically when we are born, from the childhood to 8 years of age, and even now, every day it's happening. However, in the first few years of your life, you are much more susceptible. You are like a sponge, which is just absorbing stuff without the analytical powers are not grown at that time, right? So you're just absorbing a lot of stuff at that time. So what's happening is you accepted a lot of statements as true because somebody said it. And at that time, you did not have the ability to check on them, to question them. However, the problem is that it's a fun thing when you actually realize it later. You've been living your life based on those statements that we agreed to be true. And it can happen later also throughout the life. In fact, it keeps happening later in the life, except the majority of it has been done in the first 8 years, right? So that's where the conditioning starts. And a lot of statements like money's hard, you're not good enough, or you won't understand this, you're not smart. Stuff like that, just somebody said and we accepted it, right? And that's how it kept going throughout the life without even knowing, because the brain, it runs on autopilot. All of these, so these statements, not all of them are bad. You wake up and you brush your teeth is also a conditioning. It is very helpful for you. You don't have to use extra energy for brushing. However, when it comes to statements that are negative, they actually, that autopilot mode will not change, whether positive or negative, without any effort. And to give you that effort, you need to first know that you're running in autopilot. And that's where all these tools come in place. Yeah. So understanding that what autopilot programs are running in your brain is the first step. And that's where our next tool that I'm talking about, the next fifth stuff that I'm going to talk about, would come in picture. So as of now, anybody has a question on this, on the conditioning part at all? If not, then I'll talk about the decluttering, which is the fifth thing.
Yes, ma'am, I have a question. You use the word simplification. So that points to this decluttering only, or it is something else?
It is kind of that only. It is decluttering. So what is happening? Let me talk about simplification. I will actually talk about simplification and decluttering. I think it should answer it at that time. So what we are doing in decluttering is, let me give you an a view. Like imagine this, that you have to go from point A to point B and you have to just switch off a light. Everybody knows what Legos are, or building blocks, kids toys, that they are just
Mm-hmm.
spread everywhere on the floor. Okay, and you have to go from that there and that corner to this corner and switch off the light. Okay, that's all you have to do. However, if there are so many pieces in between, you have to actually make your way, and you have to decide every step, that how do I reach there to switch off that light bulb. The step is just one. You just have to switch off the light bulb, but the amount of analysis you need to do is all consuming energy. Versus if there were three pieces or nothing on the floor, you could just walk and go and switch off the light, because your aim was just there. However, how much energy did you waste on actually walking through that path and making sure you're actually going the right way? That's how decluttering, this is, so the second step was simplification. That's the example of simplification, where you declutter everything which is not required for that decision to happen, right? So when we say decluttering, some simple examples would be decluttering, like the obvious example is decluttering, taking away the stuff that is not needed, decluttering your desktop, right? It is such a simple thing. We always see in manifestation practices, people say declutter your wallet, declutter your desktop, declutter wherever you work. People think of it as a ritual, which, even if it is taken as a ritual, it will work. But I'm telling you why it works, because it saves a lot of the wasted energy of your brain. And all these decisions, all these neural networks that it has to go through is consuming energy. By the way, your brain consumes the most energy, like it's the most energy consuming organ in the whole body, and every decision is causing you energy, right? So when you simplify, when you actually decide what I'll wear tomorrow, or if you decide the menu for the week, or what you're going to say, or just the easy decisions. For example, my husband, every time he travels, he knows he's going to wear the same clothes. It simplifies life for him. He's like, because he travels a lot, and every time he has to go, he doesn't have to stand in front of the wardrobe and think that this is what I need to wear. This is such a simple thing, but it actually helps your brain a lot. It is like one less decision to take. Mark Zuckerberg always wear that gray t-shirt. Why? Because he knows, it's one less decision to take. But there is a big neuroscience behind it, right? So decluttering, that's the easy examples of decluttering: your desktop, your phone. On your phone screen, every time you scroll to go to one app, you have to actually, every time you're spending all that energy. The lesser the apps, the better it is. Deleting the apps, great. Some apps we use only less often. You can just remove them from your desktop, and search for them when you need it. It's an easy way of doing it. Coming to the harder stuff, decluttering your mind. These things will help you declutter your mind. However, the best way I like to do it is journaling, your brain dump. So one of the tools that I wanted to talk about, and is the powerful one in this whole deck of tools that we will be talking about, is journaling. And brain dump is a kind of journaling which helps offload, which helps you see your thoughts on paper. So how you do it? Whenever you have a lot going on in your head, what I like to do is I just take a pen and paper and just start writing. Sometimes there is a lot coming up, I have to think of which class to go to for the kids. I have to think of, okay, what stuff that I need to take a decision, which inventory to send in my warehouse, what pricing to change, which deal to set up, what to have in the lunch this afternoon. This is just an example of stuff that's going on right now in my head, along with the training. So, but the point being that all of this is going on in your head, and a lot of it is not important. But when you actually put it down on a notebook, like when you just dump your brain there, you'll see a lot of things that do not need your attention, and you'll just remove them. First of all, just the act of dumping it offloads, and it actually makes you feel better. But after that, when you actually have a look at it more, you will actually understand that out of these 90 things that I have written, only 5 things need attention. The rest is just fluff, and you can let go of it. So that's how decluttering can help. Journaling is a very good way of it. Another easier way of it, it's like my go-to thing nowadays because not all the time I have time to write on my with pen and paper. I use AI. So I talk to my AI while I'm cooking, and I'll talk about all the things that are going on in my head around about work, for example, right? That this is a new launch that I want to do, or this is this book project I'm working on. What do I want to do in there? Or there is a new product coming to warehouse for my private label XYZ. I just talk to it and offload it and tell it to make a list for me and I prioritize it for me. That's a simple things, but it helps you a lot to declutter. And then you can focus your energy, your important energy. Then you can focus your important energy on the right things, right? Does anybody have any questions about decluttering or journaling? Then we'll talk about meditation afterwards.
Sorry about my. Uh, can you hear me, guys?
Yes,
Can you
we
hear me,
can hear you,
Aparna?
Kanika.
Yeah, sorry about my camera. It's switching on and off. I don't know how much time do we have right now in this session to talk about it. Although I'm just getting a lot of information from you, and thank you for so much for that. I think I would like to know more about conditioning, which I think we were talking about, and then we started talking. That struck me somewhere, which I think I've never thought of before this. And thanks for wonderful insights.
Sure, Kanika. We
So
will
I
talk
think
about. Mhm.
yeah. So I think the idea I would like to talk more on the conditioning side, which you talked about it, that
So,
we like we picked up things in our childhood from the family, society, and so what are the best ways to recondition your mind and which supports your goal instead of holding it back, I
yeah.
think.
So these 3 days are programmed, are designed
Mhm.
to find
Yeah.
out these programs. Okay. However, just to answer your question quickly, journaling and meditation are the two
Hmm.
best ways because what's happening is there's so much going on. First of all,
Yeah.
identifying what is that block that you're executing from, yeah, is the biggest picture, biggest thing in the whole story.
Hmm.
And that's, of course, it's a big question. Of course,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is an important question, and rightly so, because that's majority of the story. Once you understand what is the problem you're operating from,
Yeah.
then of course you can solve it, right? In Six Sigma, when I used to do software quality assurance, we used to spend a lot of time in problem statement, defines part of the statement, because defining the problem is, 90% of the problem solved. So conditioning is there for everybody. A lot of it is useful. A lot of it is what we are operating from on autopilot.
Hmm.
Journaling is the first step.
Okay.
Meditation is another step because journaling without filter. So I'll talk about different types of journaling. In fact, tomorrow we also see what are the major blocks in terms of abundance that are stuck in, like, why are we not doing stuff that we are supposed to do? Because everybody has got $1 million idea once in their life. I can bet on that. But why only few people go ahead and take those actions, right? What are the blocks that are causing it? All of
Yep.
that,
Yep.
we will work on it tomorrow. And in fact,
Okay.
in this whole thing, I also want to give a tool to resolve those blocks, not only find them, but actually to
Yeah.
alchemize, to change them,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Thank you. Yeah.
So you're welcome. So coming to decluttering, and I want to say that meditation is also a very strong way of decluttering. It helps you remove the fluff again, right? And I find it really funny. I was there at one point of time too, that I used to say I cannot meditate. Why?
Yeah.
Because the
I was
meditation,
about to say that.
yeah, exactly. Because what we expect from meditation is, oh, because my mind won't shut down,
Yeah.
mind won't come. Of course it won't, because it's a mind. That's it. It's doing its job. Its job is to wander, to get you everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
we all enter meditation or breathing practices with the wrong expectation. We expect our mind to shut down from day one. It's like expecting to have six-pack ab after the first day of gym. That's not how it works out, right? You don't have a good bicep without working out for a long time. Yeah, we don't expect a body transformation before we have visited the gym at least 6 months regularly, right? Why do we expect कि हम पहले दिन, for the first day we go and our brains, not going haywire? That is the practice. So I actually wanted to talk about meditation and the instruction of meditation, which is very clear. and it's based on research that I'm saying, is you only need 12 minutes every day for the practice. You need to put your time. So how you do it is you put the timer for 12 minutes, you sit down and you focus on an anchor. It can be your breath, it can be your pulse, it can be whatever, right?
Mhm.
Breath is the easiest because it's always available. Most of the times it's available. So when you're breathing, you can actually focus on that. And the instruction is focus on the breath. Every time you catch your mind wandering, bring it back to the breath. That's all. There is no instruction that your mind can't wander 5 times, 500 times, 50,000 times. No, it can. You will see when you do it for a month, those 50,000 times become 500 times, and those 500 times becomes whatever number of times. But the instruction is just this: focus on the breath, bring the mind back. Focus on the breath. If it goes away, bring it. Whenever you catch it, sometimes what happens, you
Yep.
get lost in the chain of thought, and
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
gone for a long time, right?
Yep.
So these are the two tools, and all of this manifestation, conditioning, brain work is focused on the fact, and even the logical manifester is focused on the fact that all the answers are there within us. I used to laugh a lot at this line a few years ago. In fact, I used to say that why am I actually taking a training course if all the answers are with me? However, connecting to yourself is the work. And
Yep.
people can guide you. However, you are the one who needs to connect to yourself. And your best friends are going to be meditation and journaling in that. What to journal, how to identify the blocks, what to, write, how to do the goals. We'll talk about all tomorrow. However, I just want to see if there is anything else that I wanted to talk about today. We did talk about meditation and journaling. Yeah, I think we are done for the day. This is all I wanted to talk about today. If anybody has any questions, I can take them.
So I have a question.
Yes, Neha.
So let's say that a person has a very busy schedule and he or she doesn't get any time to sit on a desk or sit with their pen and paper, basically. And there's a lot going on into their mind, especially with a country like India, where the people are, traveling in the morning to the office by the train, the 2, 3 hours of traveling. At the same time, during the travel, during all these times, the brain is, as you said, there's a lot going on, and we need to, so at that time, practically they can't do the journaling. So person like me was a challenges that even after coming the home, I was like, okay, 2, 3 hours, my brain was continuously running. There was so much of things going on, but at the moment I said, then it's all gone because that moment is gone. So I feel, I don't know if that's how, I mean, journaling can really help at that point of time, or maybe if we know the exact 2 or 3 questions, that instead of venting it out on the paper at that time, because I believe what thought is gone,
So
right? So maybe, yeah.
the brain dump that we are talking about is when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel that there is a lot going on and you don't even have the problem pinpointed, right? You can
Mm.
develop your own process, as you're saying that, you can have a few questions decided and just asking those questions to yourself, like, what am I feeling? How am I feeling? Or why am I feeling what I'm feeling? Maybe you can
Mm.
ask those questions. However, when there is overwhelm, and you don't need to have a pen and paper. Of course, I like to have it. There are pluses of having pen and paper and journaling it. However, you can take voice notes. There is a plus of just venting it out too, because you're letting the emotion of overwhelm, anger, whatever the emotion that you're feeling move as well, right? So
Okay.
that's one. However, it doesn't have to be pen and paper. You can type on your phone. I just said that I talk to my AI a lot. So you can talk to it. Now we have AI assistants. You can just talk to them and vent it out there, right? So yes. So if you and the fact that you don't have time for something shows that it is all the more important for you to do it. If it is coming to you again and again and you're not finding the time for it, that means it's time you find, because everybody's going to have 24 hours in the day, no matter what. So you need to find the time, those 5 minutes, and I promise you everybody can find it if they really want it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Adding to Neha's point, I guess even I was thinking the same, that I'm a busy mom, and I think I'm mostly caught up with my day-to-day schedule, cooking, cleaning, and doing lots of things around kids. In fact, I'm not doing much for myself, as a lot of girls or ladies out there, they just go with the flow. The idea of coming here as well, I think this is the first step I'm taking and giving priority to myself, because I met you last month and I also felt a kind of strong connection, um, with the idea of logical manifestation, and that even I realize I need to understand more and how. So which through some kind of mentoring or coaching probably, because I'm not very well trained in that side, and I think we mostly take it so easy, these things. And when I'm today also in this session, I don't know, I'm feeling very connected through this even virtual meeting. Thanks Aparna, you are my dear friend. It's not just uh, for the sake of saying it, but I really a little bit I feel inspired.
In fact,
So other things, like as you said, talking about the journaling, and like if I'm not doing anything, like I'm feeling right now that I don't have any agenda, and like you gave a number of example, doing a lot of stuff and writing it about it, but my brain is telling me you don't have anything, you just need to get up, start working. What is the how to
I
convince
have two
ourselves?
things that I want to
Yeah,
mention right now. Lenika,
yeah.
listen, and this will help everybody. The first thing is, when I came to know about journaling, so this is my experience. When I came to know about journaling, I resisted it for good 6 months. And I'm talking about a program that I paid thousands of dollars for. Okay. And they talked
Hmm.
about journaling. And then I paid another program from MIT, a neuroscience for business program, where I paid another thousands of dollars. And they also talked about journaling. So I was like, okay. And then every multimillionaire CEO I see was starting journaling at that time. And I was like, okay, there has to be something to it. I have to give it a try. But what
Yeah,
I'm saying is, this resistance is real, and I have felt it too. And it is just that, it is resistance. Just to give you an example from your own, in your terms, if your kids need 50 more minutes in a day for something, would you find it?
yeah,
You would, right? So why
yeah,
can't I find those 5 minutes?
yeah,
There were times when I was sitting with the notebook and saying, what nonsense, what am I supposed to write? And it is not,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
talking about a day or a week, I'm talking about months like that. However, when I started actually, just put everything on the side and I actually started doing it, writing or not is not the point. The point is contemplating. Writing is an easier way to contemplating, because your logical mind is not interfering in between, because it's just your brain and
yeah,
you're focused on writing at that time. However, when I started doing that, I saw a lot of filters that I was, wearing and operating through. And that actually brings me to other point. When you see the filters only, then you can remove it. But seeing them is not good for your brain. And that's what I wanted to, the second point that I wanted to make is the journaling, the conditioning point. What I want to say is,
yeah,
these conditionings, these autopilots, your brain is so used to being in a miserable mode, for example, or a poor me mode. Every problem comes, I just like to think, yeah, I don't have any control over it. I'm
yeah,
trained on that for the whole life. Now my brain is comfortable. It is not ready to move out of the passenger seat of the bus of my life to the driver's seat. Because if it
yeah.
moves to the driver's seat, it is a change, and any change is uncomfortable for your brain.
Okay.
So if we talk about the RAS and the value tagging system in your brain, the one of the most important activities of your brain is to keep you safe, like irrespective of anything else, right? Keeping you safe is its first responsibility. That is what it is focusing on. Everything else you are telling it, okay?
Yeah,
But brain is always thinking about keeping you safe. Now, whenever you say that I want to change something in my routine, I wake up, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, and I want to
yeah,
add these 5 minutes of journaling in it. It is a change for your brain. It is going to do everything to keep you safe, which means it is going to do everything to stop you from journaling. That day, some new friend will show up, the day you thought. That day, your most important call will show up. That day, everything else will happen. Why? Because the change is scary for your brain. But understanding this, imagine how much power you're getting when you are understanding this is where it is operating from. The change that is actually looking scary for your brain is actually nothing but just that. It's just a change. And once you realize that, the story changes. Then you actually start calming it down. Then you start talking to it and say, yeah, look, going in front of whatever. For example, let's take another example. If you're scared of going in front of camera, or you're going in front of public speaking or something, it is scary. However, if I do it, I'm not going to die. It's not a dying situation. This change is different from any other change. Yeah. And that's why conditioning, and this is part of conditioning. So every change is scary. And that's why, and also another thing that I came across is the bigger the resistance, the bigger the breakthrough.
Okay.
Right? If you're feeling a lot, that's what I was telling Neha. If you're feeling coming back to it and are not able to find those 5 minutes, it's all the more important to find those 5 minutes for yourself. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. I think that should be good for today. Tomorrow, but before we actually go, I actually wanted to ask this as a question, and I would post it in the group also. Is what exactly do you want? Knowing what we want is also very important. And it's actually one of the most important thing. If you don't know where you want to go, any road can take you there. Yeah. So we need to know where we want to go. So what we want to achieve from these 3 days, 5 days, and where you want to reach eventually. But after these 3 days, what is our aim? Having an intention is very important. So having a strong intention would always be good. Arun, I'm coming to you. Just give me 1 second. One more thing I wanted to say here is, yeah, I wanted to talk about having the intention and sharing it, like, what you want to achieve, where you want to go. If it is clarity, if it is the next level in your business, if it is, whatever it is. Asking the question, what I want, again and again will open, again, RAS is your brain's Google. If you give it an open-ended question, its job is to find the answer. Just like Google, it will keep looking for the answers until it finds. Okay, so that's why asking the question where I want to be is important. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is really interesting, informative. What you're talking about is a process. I understand people sitting here are from different background, different behavioral patterns, different cultures.
Yes.
So is it that everybody has to do same sort of things as a process, or can there be more options to do it? Developing individual patterns may take time. Understanding and then acting on it may take time. So
Yes.
your guidance and guidance like you may help really. But knowing that people come from various backgrounds, various beliefs, what do you think? What is the difference that they can cope up with?
So the thing is that everybody has absorbed something. That is the baseline, right? What you have absorbed versus what I have absorbed versus some other person has absorbed will be different. The conditioning, a lot of it comes from the community and the, where you are, right? So your family, direct family, but then also from the country you are in, the community you are in, the race you are in, the religion you are in. There's so much, right? Yes, it would be all different, but the process would be the same. The discoveries would be the different thing, right? You would discover something different based on what you deemed as true. Like, to ultra simplify it, it would be the statements that you listen to. Somebody looked into your eye and said, you are not whatever. That statement will change, but that discovery process remains the same. Yeah, and that's why I said the answers are within us. The process stays the same. Does that answer your question, Arun, or not?
I mean, yes, to an
Yeah.
extent, yes.
Okay. All right. So, anybody else has any questions? Afua, do you have any questions? I see that your camera's off. Are you here?
I'm here. I kind of came in late, so
Huh?
but I'm definitely gonna fight the resistance to journal. That's something that I've been struggling with myself. Like, I'm aware of the benefits.
Mhm.
However, it's just getting myself to actually do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks
And
for touching on it.
as we talked about journaling, and the resistance is real.
Yeah.
I've seen it
I
first.
got meditation down though, it's just journaling.
All right, yeah. So the thing is that maybe that's where your goal is. And sometimes, as long as, but I would say we definitely need to try. I was going to say everybody's tools are different. However, we don't know whether it is for us until we have tried it. So yeah, I would definitely say give it a try. Give it a try for maybe a month, and then you'll know whether it is for you or not. And you would also get rid of the resistance. Yeah.
Aparna, I have one more question, sort of thing. Would you recommend reading some base level books to relate more to this whole process? Maybe some authors have already written, and you recommend that we read it?
On understanding the neuroscience behind the
Yeah, I
manifestation.
mean the whole point that you want to convey to us.
Yeah, so this point that I want to convey to you is actually developed in years of research, study, and it's like kind of amalgamation of a lot of information. However, just to simplify it and coming to one of our professors in the neuroscience for business course was Dr. Tara Schwart. She has a couple of books. You can read that. That is good. The Source is one of her books. You can check that out.
Can you put her name in the chat, please?
Sure, I'll post it in the group. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Or actually, Khushbu, can you post it, please? It's The Source from Dr. Tara Schwart.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Do we have any other questions? If not, we are done for the day. But before we go, I want to talk about tomorrow. What are we going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow, we are gonna identify the beliefs. So we will be doing an interactive session tomorrow. We would work on a lot of limiting beliefs, identify which ones are more active for you, and then work on understanding a little bit more about conditioning and journaling and identifying your beliefs and see what is blocking you in terms of abundance. So this course and the logical manifestation is focused on abundance. So we will talk about your money blocks. All right. I feel money is interesting for everybody. So let's talk about interesting stuff. All right. Are we good to go?
Yes, thanks a lot.
Sure. Thanks,
Thank
Aparna.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for showing up. All the best.
Thank you.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.